Hello, welcome to Tech Sharmit. In this session, we will discuss another method of Python, which is float. So float method is mainly used to convert any other data type into float. Okay, so in our previous session, we discussed about the integer method, which convert all the data types into integer data type. And here we will use the float, which will convert all the data type into float data type. Okay, so there are multiple scenarios I have noted down here. One by one, we will go through each scenario with their output. Okay, to total 8 scenarios are there. So let's start with the first scenario. In first scenario, we are storing the value as 42, which is of type integer, and then we are converting this integer value into float using float method. So to use this method, you have to simply write float, and inside that you can pass value, and then we are printing the output. Okay, if you would like to print the type also, then in that case I would go and copy this line, because here I am printing the type, and I will paste it here. So just save it, and to check the output I will run the command python space session session 51.py, and if I hit enter here, it will execute this program, and now we will see the output. So if you focus on the first output of this first scenario, it is printing class float, which means now the type is changed to float, and the output become 42.0, because this is the float value, and previously we are inserting the integer value, so it converts it to float value. So this is how we can utilize float in order to convert integer into float. Now look at the second scenario. Here I am storing the string. This is a string, right? We are storing it inside a quotes. So this is a string 3.14. Now we are printing the type. So if you can see here, it is printing type as a string, because it is a string. Then we are converting it to float. So float, and then inside float parenthesis I'm passing that value, so the output would become the type become float, and the output become 3.14, because this is the equivalent float value of 3.14 string. Now look at the third scenario. Here we are passing this value 1.23e-4, and if you convert this value to float, the equivalent value would come like this, 0.00123. Now look at the fourth scenario. In fourth scenario, we are storing the boolean value, which is true, and then we are converting this boolean value into float using float method. So just write float, inside parenthesis I am passing this variable value, and the output become 1.0, because the the integer value of true is 1, so the equivalent float value will become 1.0. Now look at the sixth scenario. And in sixth scenario, we are using we have stored one thing, inf, which represent positive infinite. Okay, so if you try to convert this value into float, it will become inf only. Okay, it is not affecting anything here. Similarly goes with similarly we will go with this nan, which means not a number. So if you try to convert this not a number to float, it would become nan. Okay, now look at the eighth scenario. In eighth scenario, we are storing the string as 100, and then we are trying to convert it to float. So you can see it becomes 100.0. Now we will test one more thing. What will happen, like if I put here like ABC, will it convert? No, it will not convert, because this is an invalid value. We can't convert this into float. So if I run this again, you can see it is giving error. Syntax error, unterminated string literal. Oh, okay, this is just because we are not using code, but if I rerun this, then the error should get changed. Yeah, so now it is showing could not convert a string to float, because we are providing ABC. And what will happen if I make it as 1 2 3? Then will it work? So still it is not working, because ABC can't be converted into float, right? We can convert 1 2 3. If I remove this, then we can convert, because this is a possible scenario. We can convert 1 2 3 to float, but not the letters. So yeah, these are the some scenario that we usually go with float method in order to convert this thing, and these are very important methods, float, integer. So I hope it is clear to all of you. In the next session we will discuss few more things. So thank you for watching Tech Sharmit.